Joe.
So last year, the series here was pretty intense coaching grind, going up against one of the best coaches of the generation. How do you feel like you have grown or evolved as a game manager and just like overall manager of a team over the course of like a week or so?
Over the course of a week?
Well, remember last year you guys were talking about like we had a bad week when you went down 0-3 and all that. So I guess like how do you manage a team over the course of a week?
I think it's about perspective. So when the interesting thing about that game was we were down 3-0, but to me it was like 15 possessions because we had double-digit leads in both Game 1 and Game 2, and over the course of a series, things can snowball. And so I think it's more about just being able to understand the perspective of how a game is going, the perspective of how parts of the season are going, and just constantly making sure we are looking at the game and the perspective from the same lens, you know?
With Xavier, Jaden, is this something you think kind of just getting them up to speed, maybe even through the All-Star break here? Could we potentially see them before the break?
I don't know. I mean, I know they're getting treatment and just kind of easing into it, just kind of assessing where they are. We don't know much about them because we haven't had them, so I think it's just kind of like a day-to-day thing.
In terms of the offensive development you guys are going through, you know, especially building off that playoff series last year, how good of a test is Miami for, you know, making the right read, you know, attacking different looks on defense? You know, what do you want to kind of see out of your playmakers in this game?
I mean, well, all the guys are playmakers, so I think it's just understanding our spacing, understanding coverage, and, you know, being able to think on the fly. You know, we expect multiple defenses, changing defenses. We expect more pressure, more physicality, and so just being able to handle that and execute it. But I don't think just because the opponent, I think that's every opponent, that's every game, is like, can we get to our spacing quickly? Can we recognize coverage? Can we make the right read? And usually when the right read's not made, we didn't screen properly. So just the discipline of like really working at that, and some of our guys have really gotten better at over the last couple of weeks.
Joe, what did you take from Friday, watching it over again, the performance, the defense? What did you take away from that? Our defense was 1.02 through the first 3 quarters. So it's definitely operate by principle, not by feeling. And then we got outshot by 13 threes, and that's 39 expected points to lose by. And the process of winning is much more difficult, and so it's very hard to win a game by more than 6 points if the other team shoots 13 more threes than you at 44%, and you only shoot 32 threes at 21%. And so it's that's the perspective. How did you win that game?
It's a great question. I thought because we shot 28 for 28, but really missed 2 free throws. Yeah, and so we were very efficient from the free throw line. I thought our late game execution was pretty good. We had a situational thing at the end of the game that we executed really well. And so, you know, there was the fact that there was about 10 or 12 possessions that we talked about where like our transition defense has to be better, our efforts there. But I think what got lost in the shuffle of that game was the process towards winning and being able to guard the variance and you know, being able to execute, you know, versus different types of defenses. But if you're going to shoot 45%, it's very difficult to win a game.
Not on the injury side, but with Jaden and Xavier, what's the process like of kind of assimilating them, you know, looking over film with them, kind of making them a part of things during this time when they're not necessarily playing?
Individual coaches, and it's just getting them up to speed on kind of what we do. So it's just a ton of film, a ton of conversation. So obviously they're never going to be able to get as caught up to speed until they get a chance to get on the court or until we have practice time. But you know, they're both watching film. They're both kind of working with their individual coaches, kind of getting up to speed.
Great. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.